Hello, everybody, and welcome to Weird World. I'm your host, Jeff, and let's talk about something interesting, shall we? The divorce rates in America. 35 stunning stats for 2022. Oof. Let's find out what it is, shall we? We've all suffered from heartbreak, and it's never a particularly pleasant subject. That being said, the divorce rate in America provides an insight into today's relationships, knowing what percentage of marriages end in divorce and when divorce is most likely to occur is important to all of us. We might be wondering, what is the current divorce rate in the U.S.? Here's the deal. While the U.S. divorce rate has remained relatively stable over recent years, it's actually declined in the long term. As the following stats show, however, the divorce rate in the United States in 2019 doesn't necessarily provide the full picture of marital status separations and relationship breakdowns. Divorce rates in America. Editor's pick. The current divorce rate in the U.S. is 2.9 persons per 1,000 people. That's pretty low. Overall, the rate of divorces in America is falling. So is the number of weddings. Divorces amongst people aged 50 plus years is rising. Fewer couples choose to marry than pre 1990. Right. The U.S. divorce rate is amongst one of the highest in the world. Oh, yeah. There are currently over 750,000 divorces in the U.S. each year. Most Americans who file for divorce do so between January and March. Ooh, that's interesting. That is not a stat I've heard yet. So most divorce filings usually happen between January and March in every year. That's very interesting. Divorce rates in America stats 2022. Number one, the divorce rate in America is 2.9%, blah, 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 per thousand. According to CDC, the current divorce rate is just 2.9. However, only 45 states and the District of Columbia submitted enough data to be considered in the nationwide study. As Indiana, California, Hawaii, New Mexico, and Minnesota are not counted, there may be some variations figure. Well, I imagine. Recent divorce rates suggest a decrease in the number of people dissolving their marriage. The divorce rate has increased since 1960, but since 1990, there has been a downward trend in the divorce statistics. This suggests divorce rates over time are changing drastically as are marriage and cohabitation trends. Yeah, the cohabitation part. By assessing the divorce rate statistics by year, it's easy to see that the rate of divorce in the U.S. is on a general decline. 3. More people in the U.S. were married in 2018 than in 1960. Despite the overall long-term increase in divorce rates in America, most U.S. residents were married in 2018 than in 1960. This may highlight the effect of an increasing population has on the stats on marriage and divorce. Okay, but that was 2018. The first marriage usually lasts only 8 years. 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So then by 2026, we should be seeing a much larger increase in divorce rates by stats. Let's see now. Over 750,000 divorces took place in the U.S. in 2017. In 2017, approximately 787,251 divorces were granted in America, which means that around 1.5 million people got divorced that year. As the national divorce rates continue to fall, it's likely that the number of divorces in the U.S. per year will continue to fall in the future. That's what they're hoping. Remarriage increases the risk of divorce. No kidding. According to the Census Bureau, the rate of divorce increases in relation to how many times you've been married. This means the more you marry, the more likely you are to divorce. Who would have thought that? Ooh, There is a seasonal spike in divorces in the U.S. Most people file for divorce between January and March than at any other time of year. Some researchers believe this represents a perceived strain on familial relationships over the holiday period. Divorce rates vary dramatically from state to state. The lowest divorce rate by state occurs in Illinois and Louisiana, with rates of just 1.9 per 1,000 people. Wow. Versus the states with the highest divorce rate in Nevada and Oklahoma. All right, with just 4.5 and 4.1, respectively. The average length of a marriage in the U.S. is 8.2 years. 8.2. Like I said, 2026 should be an interesting divorce year. Whilst the national average marriage length is just over 8 years, couples in New York typically have the longest lasting unions. The typical marriage in the Empire State lasts for 12.2 years. Wow, that is a big increase from 8. Well, which is significantly higher than the national average. True. In fact, some scholars estimate that the actual number is closer to seven years, as the divorce process can take about 1 year to complete. Yeah, I guess that would be true. So I guess in 2025 should start the divorce proceedings for the people who got married in 2018. Hey, at least if you plan on it, then you know about it. But it's not all bad news. The likelihood of divorce might be less than you think. The most common question surrounding divorce in the United States is, what percentage of marriages end in divorce? Here's the kicker. Many people believe this figure is around 50%. However, the actual percentage of marriages that end in divorce in the U.S. varies between 40 and 50%. This means that you're more likely to stay married than you are to dissolve your marriage. Good news. Good news, right? You only have a 40 to 50% chance, no matter what, of getting a divorce. Yay! And it's usually, of course, by the woman just saying that she doesn't want to be married to you anymore. That's the stats. The divorce rate today is lower than a decade ago. Okay, here we go. One of the major reasons for this is due to high attorney fees that can rack up to a whopping $12,800. Luckily enough, online divorce is becoming a thing among married couples. These can save thousands of dollars for those looking to separate from their spouse. 11. The national divorce rate for adults between 25 to 39 is 24 out of... So 1/4 of all the divorces going on are between 25 and 39. At least that's what it shows. For 24 per 1,000 people. For adults aged between 40 to 49 years of age is 21 per 1,000 people. In contrast, the divorce rate amongst adults ages 50 years and older is 10 in 1,000 people. When looking at divorce rates by age groups, it's clear that there are significant differences between demographics. 12. The rate of divorce after 10 years is 48% of those who marry before the age of 18. The rate of divorce after 10 years is 48% for those who marry before the age of 18. But the rate is just 25% for those who marry after the age of 25. For people who marry between the ages of 20 to 25, there is a 44% to 60% chance of the union ending in divorce. So, this is crazy. These statistics confirm that the age of the couples at the time of marrying does not impact consequent divorce rates. Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Absolutely. Now, 13, the gray divorce rates have risen drastically over the last 30 years. Yeah, shocker. Among adults aged 50 and older, the national divorce rate has roughly doubled since 1990. For those aged 65 and plus, it has actually tripled from 2 to 1,000 married persons to 6 in 1,000. This indicates that people over the age of 50 are more likely to get divorced now than ever before. Wow. Wow, that's just crazy. 14, successful marriage statistics are on the increase. As divorce rates continue to reduce overall, successful marriage statistics increase accordingly. With a 40 to 50% chance of marriage in the U.S. ending in divorce, there's a 50 to 60% chance that a marriage will not be dissolved. So people who marry today stand a much better chance of having a successful marriage than ever before. That's what it says. That's what the article says. Ages 28 to 32 could be the best time to get married. No kidding. We've known this for a long time, especially for women. As we know by now, divorce rates vary by age, but there isn't a linear trend that shows divorce rates increase or decrease as you get older. Still, people who get married in their late 20s or early 30s are statistically less likely to get divorced. Okay, I'd like to see numbers, but 16, people are 75% more likely to end their marriage if a friend is divorced. Oh, yeah. Yeah, basically, I'll just read it. Having friends who are divorced can greatly increase your chances of becoming divorced yourself, according to a research team for Brown University. While you are at 75% more likely to end your own marriage if you're friends with a divorcee. You are 33% more likely to get divorced if you have a friend of a friend who has formally ended a marriage. In other words, if you hang around people who are married, you generally stay married. You hang around single people or women that want to be able to get on and have parties and this, that, whatever, you're much more likely to get a divorce. It's crazy. 17, second marriages have a higher divorce rate. No kidding. While the rate of first marriage is 40-50, second marriage statistics show this increases to 67% for the second marriages and a whopping 75% for third marriages. When it comes to a happy union, the third time clearly isn't the charm. 18, divorce rates may not give the true picture. Although divorce rates have fallen in recent years, marriage rates have dropped too. Finally. Talking about this. When comparing marriage versus divorce statistics, it's important to assess the rates in context. In the 1990s, the national marriage rate in America was 9.8 people per 1,000. Currently, it's 6.9 per 1,000. With more couples living together without formalizing their union, the rate of divorce cannot accurately represent the number of long-term relationship breakdowns. Yeah, exactly. Because people aren't necessarily getting married. I don't know how many times I've been told about that. Separation doesn't count in terms of divorce stats. The majority of people who separate do go on to a divorce, but that's not always the case. Check this out. 91% of white women who are separated will divorce within 3 years. This figure drops to 77% for Hispanic women and 67% for African American women. As long-term separation is not counted in the most divorce stats, the rate of marriage breakdowns can be higher than divorce rates suggest. And that's within 3 years. So that 8 years could be 5. Just saying. Could be 5 years and all of a sudden you're separated. And a few years later you're getting a divorce. 20. Education may impact divorce rates. The average marriage failure rate varies depending upon each spouse's level of education. 78% of women with bachelor's degrees who married for the first time in 2006 to 2010 can expect their marriages to last on at least, wow, really? To last for at least 20 years. Really? In contrast, 49% of women with college education and 40% of women with high school diplomas or less can expect their marriages to last for the same period. Interesting. Now, are education-related divorce rates skewed? Well, let's find out. Should I actually go on and talk about it? Even though education-related divorce rates statistically imply that a higher level of education equates to less chance of divorce, this may not show the full picture. People who get a college degree before marrying are likely to be a few years older than those with just who just went to high school. So the statistics relating to education and divorce can be influenced by the age of each spouse and have more to do with divorce rates for young couples as opposed to educational experience. Millennial divorce rate is lower than those of their predecessors. Yeah, but they're now still getting married. People born between 1981 and 1996 are showing lower rates of divorce than older age groups. However, the millennial divorce rate may be impacted by the fact that this demographic typically chooses to marry at a later age, and many forego marriage in favor of cohabitation. As earlier generations typically got married at a younger age, they were less likely to cohabitate. This could contribute to the lower divorce rate amongst millennials. I'd say, yeah. Millennials are also more cautious about marriage. The decreasing marriage rates in the U.S. may not signify a general dislike for the institution, but rather a more cautious approach. The generational gap in divorce rates may be partly due to the fact that many millennials complete further education and begin their careers before tying the knot. While marriage and divorce rates in the U.S. have fallen, the age at which millennials are choosing to marry is much higher when compared to pre-1980 stats. So basically, the older you get before your first marriage, more likely you are that you're actually going to stay married. Well, at least for longer periods of time. Cohabitating can impact your risk of divorce. Couples who do not cohabitate before getting married are less likely to obtain a divorce within the first 20 years of their union. Really? Men who live with their partner prior to marriage have a 49% chance of voting divorce for at least 20 years, while women who live with their partner before marrying has a 46% chance of remaining married for at least 20 years. I don't understand how that's possible. Because the whole point of cohabitating is to find out what they're really like. That's the whole point of it, right? So that you don't have any nastiness. And so, after the fact, when you're already married, now you're screwed. 25, divorce is less likely than cohabitatee breakups. There's a 20% chance of a first marriage resulting in divorce within 5 years. In comparison, couples who cohabitate for 5 years have a 49% chance of separating. Similar, married couples have 33% chance of divorce within 10 years. While cohabitating couples have a 62% chance of splitting up in this time frame. These statistics indicate that married couples are likely to remain together longer than couples who choose to cohabitate but do not marry. Well, yeah. Well, there's also this giant pain in the ass called the U.S. government getting involved. Incompatibility is the leading cause of divorce in the U.S. You mean the no-fault divorce? Duh. It's easy. You're going to be able to just say, no matter what, I just don't like him anymore. We're just not meant for each other, and just get a divorce. According to the Institute of Divorce Financial Analysts, the number one reason for divorce in America is basic incompatibility. 43% of research participants cited this reason as a primary decision to get a divorce. Infidelity and money issues were also highly relevant, with statistics showing that 28% and 22% of participants citing these reasons for obtaining a divorce. These causes of divorce statistics highlight the most common reasons for couples to request a divorce, although parenting differences, addiction, and abuse are commonly cited too. Choose better. Same-sex marriage and divorce in the U.S. 27. We're getting close. Gay marriage divorce rate is still unclear. Why? The Williams Institute at the UCLA School of Law did publish data which suggested the same-sex divorce rate was approximately half of the different sex divorce rate. However, this was later retracted due to an error in the calculation of the data. Revised figures showed the gay marriage divorce rate was broadly the same as a heterosexual marriage divorce rate, and that around 2% of the population get divorced every year. So whether or not you're gay or straight, you still have the same chances of getting a divorce. So this study says. 28. Same-sex divorce data is still limited in the U.S. If same-sex marriages were only recognized on a federal level in the U.S. in 2013, there is still a lack of data regarding the rate of same-sex divorces. Over the next 10 to 20 years, divorce rates among same-sex couples are likely to become easier to gather. 29. Same-sex divorce rates may not give a true picture. No kidding. We already understand that. Okay, let's try this. Divorce and children in America. 52% of single parents have been married at some point. Slightly more than half of single parents have been married, while some marriage dissolutions are due to death of one spouse. Always a horrible thing. This is indicative of a high number of children being raised by divorced parents. 31. 35% of parents who are now cohabitating were once married. Yeah, I know quite a few people who were once married and now they just live together. The Pew Research Center reports that over a third of cohabitating parents used to be married. This implies that a significant number of children are being raised by or living in formal step-parents. 32. Children of divorce are more likely to become a divorcee. Right, because that's what they're growing up with and are used to it. Children of a divorce statistics suggest that children whose parents divorce are 4 times more likely to get a divorce themselves in the future. Even though religious, moral, and social economic factors play a role in this pattern, the statistics suggest that people are far more likely to obtain a divorce if their own parents were divorced. Right, that would make sense. The U.S. divorce rates compared to the rest of the world. There's where we're going to get a little on. U.S. divorce rates are higher than those of other continents. Some European countries have fairly similar divorce rates to those in the U.S., while others have a far lower national divorce average. For Europe as a whole, this average falls below the representative U.S. divorce rate. The U.S. has one of the highest crude divorce rates in the world. Crude? With a crude divorce rate of 2.9%, or 2.9 per thousand, the people, the OF divorce, in America is more common than in many other countries. No idea what that OF is. Including Australia, Canada, China, France, Germany, Italy, and Mexico. 35. America has the 3rd largest divorce rate in the world. According to the United Nations, Maldives has the highest divorce rate with 10.9. Divorces taking place per thousand each year. Belarus has the 2nd highest worldwide divorce rate with 4.63. Followed by the United States. Conclusion. The divorce rate in America provides a snapshot of the changing institution of marriage and the views of average Americans. Both the rate of divorce and the rate of marriage are falling. Okay, true. These statistics indicate that people are choosing more informal personal arrangements at the expense of formally recognized unions. Also, a lot of guys don't want to be getting screwed over as soon as they get married. Now, whether you view the divorce rate in America by year or by the divorce rates per years of marriage, the statistics regarding marriage dissolution represents the changing views of society. Whereas marriage was once the norm, it is no longer seen as quite so critical. Although many people expected the divorce rate of 1950% to increase, it has done the opposite. In the same way, today's predictions regarding the future figures may prove a surprise. So, all right, this is a long article talking about all the different stuff for divorce rates in America. So if you have any, like, share, comment, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. You guys have a great one. Bye-bye.